What is up guys, this is FazeR and this is going to be a 3D motion tracking tutorial to put like 3D text or logos or models or whatever you'd like to put into stuff like cinematics of Call of Duty for edits and stuff like that. Just basically going to teach you guys how to create something a little like this. This is Nuketown from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. A lot of you will know what Nuketown is, and this is just one of the buildings that I've chosen to put my text above. And if you take a quick scroll through, you can see that my text is sort of swaying from side to side. Quite a slow movement, but it looks quite nice, and you can see the reflections on the front of the text and on the side of the text here as well, and you can see the nice shadow underneath. If we sway around, you'll be able to see the reflections coming off the side of the letters on the black, and it does look quite nice, quite clean, and I'm going to show you guys basically how to do something like this. So if we close that, first you'll need your raw cinematic. So we've got ours here, and we've got it open just down here, and you'll be able to see if I just play it. It's just a slow cinematic. You'll want something ideally that's quite a flat sort of surface to do this on, because it makes it a lot easier to set up for your Boujou and Cinema 4D and stuff like that. So that's our cinematic there, quite slow, quite nice, quite easy to use. And that's it for the video. So we're going to go ahead and start editing now. So we're going to take our raw clip, the one I just showed you, and we're going to put it into After Effects and drag it and drop it in here. And you're going to drag down to the composition button down here and release it on there, and it's going to open up on the timeline here, and you're going to see the thing open here, and you can scroll through and you can sort of click to any point you want and it will move there, and you want to basically get to the point that you want it to stop at and start at, and you can adjust that by using this down here where it says the work area start and the work area end with these little yellow bars. We're just going to move ours across. Say you want it to end there, you just do that, and none of this will actually be in the render, only stuff that's inside this area here. So once you've got the stuff selected that you want, just make sure that if you record with a HD PVR, you may have these little black bars around the edge here and around the edge at the top here, and to fix those, just click on here and press S on your keyboard, and that will open up scale down here, and just click on either one of these and change it to 101. Press enter, and that's going to fix the edges around here, and it will do both because they are locked together with this little constraint proportions thing here. So once you have what you want selected, you're going to go up and click composition, and you're going to click add to render queue, and you've got your render settings here. So you want to go ahead and click on lossless out here where it says output module. Click on lossless, and you can change format AVI, and you either want a JPEG sequence or a PNG sequence. Now a PNG sequence, sorry, it's here, is a better quality image, but it will be obviously a bigger file. So depending on if you're going to go for quality or for the speed of the render and the size of the files, JPEG would be a smaller, lower quality image, whereas PNG would be higher quality. So I always select PNG and just click OK. Then you're going to want to click output to. It says not yet specified. You're going to want a completely empty folder for this. I'm going to go ahead and show you why quickly. This is my folder here for my images, and as you can see, it is just hundreds of images. I've actually got 693 images in here. So obviously if you save that into a folder that already had other stuff in, or if you saved it onto the desktop or something, then it would just be completely everywhere and you wouldn't be able to really find out what you needed. So just go ahead and make a new folder specifically for this. Name it whatever you like. I've called mine Nuketown. So in After Effects, when you click on output to and you click not yet specified, I would have gone to desktop and found the Nuketown folder, opened it up and saved it in there. So once you've got your save location specified, you're going to want to go over to here and click render, and it's going to render through. This bar is going to fill up with yellow, and it will make a little noise when it gets to the end to let you know it's done. So once you've done that and it's rendered out, you can go ahead and close After Effects because we don't need it anymore. I'm not going to save it. You can if you want to, just in case. And once you've got that, like I said, you'll have your file of images here. If you happen to scroll through and have a quick look and there are any with some black bars over them, I know some of mine do have that. I just want to go ahead and find you an example real quick if I can. Can't seem to see any now. There's usually quite a lot on. I'll make it bigger so we can quickly see if there are any with a black bar over, because some of them do have it, and I just want to show you guys that it's not a problem. They don't seem to have it now, which is really, really strange. Okay, well, mine don't seem to be doing it anymore. But if you have any of your images that are sort of half black across the thumbnail, don't worry, because it doesn't affect them and they will still come out perfectly. But as you can see, we've got hundreds and hundreds of images here. So that's why we said to save them in their own individual folder, because otherwise they would just get lost everywhere. So now we need to go ahead into Boujou and we need to track our motion. So we open up Boujou here. For those of you who never use Boujou, very, very simple program to use for what we want to use it for. We literally need to click 3 or 4 buttons in here and a couple of adjustments on some settings, and then we'll be done. So you're going to want to click import sequence, and the button is labeled import sequence. It's quite big, quite easy to find, so just click ahead in there and you're going to go and find the folder that you saved your images in. So mine is desktop and Nuketown, so I'm going to open that, and it will open all of our images here in a second. And you want to click on the very first one, 0000 PNG, and click open. Now on this for here, you want to click the frame rate that you'd like to use. So this says 24. I'm going to go ahead and click 59.94 and click apply, and all that always changes back to 25, and I'm not sure if that affects the actual end result, but just to always be precautious, I always change it back and click apply again, and then it will stay at 59.94. So if we go ahead and close that, we can see that we've got our image sequence in here, and it does just look like the video, obviously, which is the idea. And what we need to do now is track the motion on here. So there's a track features button, which is the yellow lines with the red crosses on the end. It is labeled track features. Just go ahead and click that. Make sure all frames is selected and click start. And this is going to take maybe 5 to 10 minutes for something this size. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video so you guys don't have to watch this, and we'll be back in a second when this has finished doing what it does. Okay guys, so we are back, and as you can see, it has put a lot of red crosses all over our image sequence here, and if we scroll through you can see a lot of them moving about, and it really looks quite messy, but that is the idea, that's how it's supposed to look. So once that's done, we need to go ahead and camera solve, and like before, there's a button over here that says camera solve, and it's got a red cross going to a yellow dot, and you just want to go ahead and click on that. And once again, make sure all frames are selected and click optimize camera path smoothness. Now this should only take a minute or so, so I'm not going to pause the video for this part. I'm just going to take this moment to say, if this video helps you and you like it, please post a like on the video, as it really helps me out and lets me see that people are enjoying the content that I'm posting, and obviously inspires me to keep making content. And if you subscribe to my channel, you can see more videos like this. Post any requests or anything in the comments below, and I'll do my best I can to fulfill those requests. And obviously subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future uploads, and follow me on Twitter as well, because every time I upload a video I post them straight onto Twitter, so that's a good place to follow me to see when I am uploading. Anyway you guys, I'm not going to keep you held any longer. As you can see, all of the red crosses have turned into blue and yellow dots. So if we scroll through here, we can see the ones that are on the rooftop, which are the ones that we are going to be using. You can see these yellow ones here. And now you need to set up the scene geometry, which is basically setting up the scene for where we want our text to be for Cinema 4D. And there's a button over here again that says scene geometry, so you can go ahead and click on that. And this is the only part that really requires quite a few buttons being pressed on Boujou for this, so this is the bit where you mainly need to pay attention. There's a button down this here that says add coordinate from hint. You want to go ahead and click that, and then it's going to give you a type down here. Now first you want to set up the x-axis, and the x-axis is the one that goes from left to right, and we need to select 2 points. So you want to click one and hold control and click another, and you just want to pick 2 that look about right, ideally 2 that are sort of on the same level surface. That's why we need quite a level surface to do this, so it's a lot easier to set this up. So you want to click one, hold control, click the other, and you're going to click connect to selected, this little button down here. And then you want to add another coordinate from hint using this button here, and you want to change the type to the z-axis. And for those of you who don't know, the z-axis is the one that goes from front to back. So we're going to click one dot here, not holding control, so that we select its own individual point. Then we're going to hold control and click the other one that we want to use, which it always selects the wrong one sometimes. So I'm just going to go ahead and click this until I can get the one that I want. I believe that is the right one actually, it's just not turned green, so I really just want to make sure I'm getting the right one. Let me just rotate this slightly so I can make sure I want this dot just here. Sometimes it can be a bit awkward because there are a lot of dots. That's the one I want, there we go. Sometimes it can select the wrong one, so just make sure the one goes green that you want to use, which is this one here. And I'm going to hold control and click this other one here. These are the 2 that I want, so I'm going to click connect to selected. And then we need to add one more coordinate from hint, and that is going to be type origin. And this is just going to be somewhere sort of in the middle where you'd like your test object to go and your text to go in Cinema 4D. So we're going to click 1 point, and you only need 1 for the origin, so we're going to click connect to selected for that 1 point there. Then at the bottom here we're going to click update coordinate frame, so we click update coordinate frame there, that's updated. And then in the bottom left of these buttons here, you'll see add test objects, so go ahead and click it, and you'll see it puts this ladybird test object exactly where we'd like it to be, where we want our text. So that's absolutely perfect. So we're going to go ahead and click off there. If your text object is in the wrong place, just come back here, click each one of these and click delete down here and try again. It might be a bit of trial and error. Like I said earlier, sometimes it selects the wrong one. So if you don't realise, just come back and make sure you've got the right ones and add your test object and make sure it goes in the right place for you. So then you need to go ahead and click the export button up the top here. And once you click export, you want to click export camera solve. And we get our save location here. So click browse and you want to pick your location for a save. I'm just going to save mine on the desktop and call it tutorial. And you want to click scale scene by 100, and you want to go ahead and make sure you're on Cinema 4D if that's the program you're using, which we will be for this tutorial, and go ahead and click save. This is not scaled by 100, so I'm just going to scale that. I don't know why it went off, but to make sure that's scaled by 100 and click save, and then you're done in Boujou. So we can go ahead and close this. I would advise that you save this rather than lose unsaved changes, just if it's like your first time. Obviously it will be if you're probably watching this tutorial, then I'd go ahead and save it just in case it goes wrong for you guys, so you can come back in here and you don't have to wait for all them render times again. I'm not going to, because I don't need it, just for a tutorial. So we've got our tutorial C4D folder, file, sorry, and we're going to go ahead and double click that and open this in Cinema 4D. Just going to see how long we're on here. Scale this by 10, leave that on 10, that's fine. Go ahead and click OK. And we're on 11 minutes 20, that should be fine. We shouldn't be more than sort of 5 to 10 minutes in Cinema 4D. I wanted to keep this around 20 minutes, so that's looking good. So once we're in here, we need to create a background. So hold on this button here and drag down to background and create that in there. And then we need to select a texture for that background, or a material rather, sorry. So we're going to go ahead and click create down here and new material. Now for the background, we're going to want our image sequence that we had earlier. So you're going to double click on this material, and where it says texture, you're going to click this arrow here and click load image. And ours is already open in this folder, but obviously if yours wasn't, go and find the folder where you saved your image sequence and select the first image like we did in Boujou and click open. Click no on this box. It's just going to basically create a copy of the image you selected, which you don't need, so go ahead and click no. And then click on the image down here where it's loaded in, and you want to click animation up in the top here, and down the bottom where it says calculate, click that, and that will make it all of your frames so that this will go smoothly like the video. So we can close that now. I want to click it up and drag it onto background and drop it in there, and you'll see it drops in nicely. And you can see where we set up our axis point here on Boujou, it is actually sitting on the roof where we wanted it to, and as we scan around, that will sit in the same place. Just need to drag this out so that it's the right amount of frames for your video, and as you can see, it stays in the same place and sits there nicely. What we need to do now is go ahead and add some text, because we're going to be using text for this example. So you want to go up here and click MoGraph and go down to MoText, and you want to add that in there, and this might load in really big, so you just need to scale it down a little. So click the scale button up here. You've got move, scale and rotation. So click the scale button, and you see you've got this little blue arrow here. Just drag it down till it's around the sort of size that you need. And there's no point really sizing it up properly until you've got the text how you want it. So we don't quite want it that depth, so we're going to click on MoText up here. I'm going to change the depth to about 10, which probably should be okay. And we're going to change the text to just say tutorial, and click off that, and that will change. And then we're going to just add a nice font that I really like called ethnocentric. We're just going to put that one on just because I think it looks very nice, especially for things like this, because it's quite a thick, bold font, and it helps you see your reflections and stuff. And you want to go ahead down here when you've got text selected, it says align, just change it from left to middle, and then you can drag that in, and that's just so that if you do any sort of rotation on it or anything like that, it works a lot easier if you have it sort of in the middle. And when you scale it down for size, it scales right from the middle as well, so you can get it sized up a bit easier. So once you've got this to the size that you like it, I just need mine a bit smaller, I believe, so that it fits on the building nicely. And just going to move that over slightly again. So just drag it around and see if yours fits. Mine does. That looks quite nice on there. So we've got our text on the building how we like it now, and we go ahead and click render, and you can see it sits on the building nicely there. I mean, it doesn't look very good right now, obviously. We need to get them nice colours and reflections and stuff in there in the shadows, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. So to get the nice colours, we need to go ahead and create a new material, and I'm just going to show you guys how to do like a nice black. So you're going to double click on material, and you're going to go to colour, and you're going to turn this to black, and then you're going to go ahead down here where it says reflection, and you're going to tick the reflection box, and you want to go ahead on the reflection and click on texture and change it to this one that says Fresnel or Fresnel, however you want to pronounce that. And you want to, you've got brightness here, change that to about 30%, and you want to change the mix strength to around 20 to 30% as well. We're going to put wave files on 30. So once that's done, you want to go ahead and drag that onto the text, and then when we render here, you'll see it's a bit of a nicer sort of text, but it still looks quite, you know, cheap at the minute and not very nice. So we need to add them nice reflections in there to get this really looking a lot more realistic. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to add a plane. Now to do that, you click on the cube here, hold it down and add plane, and you want to move this about so that it doesn't go off the edge of the building, and you'll see why in a moment. I'll explain it a bit better when we need to sort it out. So you just want to size it down so that it doesn't come off the edge of the building. So if we scan around here, you can see it's coming off the edge here. So you just want to click this little yellow marker here and size it down so that it doesn't go off the edge. That's about the edge. I'm not going to be too careful because it's only a tutorial, but obviously you guys will make sure yours is perfect. And you might want to rotate as well so that it levels up with the front of this edge here. So if we go to the rotation tool, we can just, if you see, we can rotate it like this, and then we can move it back and move it along. And like I said, I'm not going to be too careful with this, but you get the idea. You just want to line it up with the edge of the building best you can, and that will help with our shadows, and I'll show you guys why in a minute. So once you've got that on there, you want to go ahead and drag this texture onto that plane, but when you render, it will look awful, it will look horrible like this. That's not what we want. So you're going to want to go ahead and right click on plane and click Cinema 4D tags and click Compositing, and you can see a lot of boxes down here, and you only need to mess with 2 of them, and they're right here. You need to turn off self shadowing and turn on compositing background, and once you render, then you'll notice that it looks a lot lighter and it looks exactly like this does, and that's great, but obviously it still doesn't look right for what we need it for. I've just moved that, sorry. So what we need to do is click on plane, and we need to click on the material that we added, which is the image sequence, the same one we put on the background. You want to click on the actual material, not on plane here. You want to click on the material, and it will come down here, and this says projection UVW mapping, and you want to change that to frontal, and then when you render, it will fit in nicely with how it should look on here, and that's how you get the nice reflections on the text. You can see it looks a bit shadowed here, and you can avoid that by sort of rotating your plane and getting it to the right size that you need it. But for now, ours looks okay. You can just, if I just quickly take this and move it, you'll see where it looks a bit shadowed on the top of the building. If we render again now that I've moved it there, I think actually that might just be the shadows on the building. I'm not entirely sure. You know what, that is just the colour of the building. That's nothing to do with our actual plane there. So I'm sorry about that, that was wrong. So we can move that back. I didn't realise that was a shadow on the building. So yeah, once you keep your plane in position, and I'll show you guys why the plane is quite important to have rather than just putting a floor. So if we want to get our shadows now, so if we render this, you can see we've got the reflections in the text. Don't worry about this extra stuff here, because anything that's outside of these grey bars will not show up, because this is our perspective. So anything here that looks like really bad, don't worry about that, because it won't show up on the video anyway. So you want to go ahead, and I'm going to move my text up a little bit just so we can get a better look at the shadows once they're added in. So I'm just going to lift it up a little bit, and we're going to add in a light. So just click the light bulb here, and we've got our light here. And if you look at the shadows, if you want to set it up so it looks realistic, you look at the shadows on the map here, they're coming, it looks like the sun's sort of over this side, and so we're going to want to take our light, and we can rotate, because once we move it will go back anyway. So if we rotate and zoom out so we can position our light a little bit, we probably want it about here, and you're going to put it up here, and maybe just drag it over above the text a little bit, maybe a little bit behind. And if we slide this across, you'll see it goes back to normal anyway. And you want to click on your light here, and you've got a lot of buttons down here. You just want to click shadow, and where it says none, you're going to change it to shadow map soft. And when we render that, you'll see that this looks like quite a horrible shadow. It's quite dark, it doesn't look anything like these. So you want to change the density probably down to about 60 or 50%. Just have a little play around with it until it looks how you like it. And that looks quite nice for us. That shadow's a little darker, so we could maybe change that to 65 and give that a quick render and see how that looks. That looks a bit more like that. That looks quite realistic. It looks quite good. But like I was saying to you guys earlier, the reason we've got the plane here is because if we were to rotate our text, say we wanted it rotating, just go here and click the rotate tool and move it around quickly, and we render, our shadow will stop on the edge here where our plane stops. Whereas if we were to have added a floor, because the floor takes up the whole screen, the shadow would have came off here and it would have looked really stupid. So that's the reason that we use a plane, so that we can cut the shadows to where we want it to be, and it looks a lot more realistic because it will stay on the building. So we're going to go back and have this how we like it, and that's pretty much it, guys. You can see the reflections on the text, you can see the shadows, you can have a play around, you can maybe make some nicer text, make some nicer colors. I mean, we could always go on here and change the color to say a red, and we could go ahead and render that, and that would be a red text with a shine. And if you take red and it's got this dark on the front but it looks light over here, all you need to do is add another light to the scene, and you just want to drag this light out. If we take the move tool, drag this light out and drag it sort of up, and don't add any shadows to it because otherwise it will create more shadows, but drag it kind of far away and then render it out, and you'll see that it's lit up your text here. If it looks a little too bright, you can always just click on it, and where it says basic, or sorry, not where it says basic, where it says general, you can turn the intensity down to maybe 60, and then it won't look quite so bright when you render out, maybe look a little bit more realistic. But you can play around with all those features yourself, guys. I'm just showing you the basics. Really what you make of it is your own creativity. I'm just showing you guys how to get the nice looks on the text, etc. So that's pretty much it, you guys. How long have we taken on this video? 20 minutes, which is about what I wanted to do, so that's ideal for me, really. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below. If you feel like I've not explained anything clearly, or you'd like some extra help with something, just leave a comment and I will answer all the comments, and I will try and help you guys as much as I can. If you'd like any more tutorials on anything specifically, like how to make the text, the black and purple text that I had at the start, if you'd like a tutorial on that, or a tutorial on anything really, just let me know and I will try my best to make all the videos that you guys want to see. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If it has helped you, give it a like, maybe add it to your favorites if you're going to be coming back to it in the future, and subscribe to my channel for any more videos. And like I said, comments if you want anything answered or any tutorials made, just let me know so I can do my best to help you guys. Follow me on Twitter, the link will be in the description below. It's at FazeRHD. You will see it in my outro in a second anyway, but the link will be in the description. That's probably the easiest way to get to it. Every time I upload a video, I post it straight out on Twitter, so that's a very good place to follow me to be able to see my videos. So once again, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and found it helpful, and I hope to see you on my next video.